recorded a different video for today, which was mostly about the dead time in Destiny when there's not that much to talk about. Thought I would slip that in before tomorrow's TWAB, which is supposed to be pretty substantial. So now I'm probably going to do a TWAB video tomorrow, and then the video I did today will be Friday because I am about to start traveling and I won't be able to record and upload anything for a couple of days. But I had to get in some commentary about Joe Blackburn's tweet thread about PvP. I just wrote a short article summary about it, but I figured I would dive into it on video here. I'd say it's a good news, bad news situation. The good news, of course, is that Bungie is actually talking about PvP for once, and Joe actually gave a lot of information about some of the major things that are coming over the course of, I guess it's going to be more than a year, considering we're talking about Season 15, 16, 17, and 18. So that's 4 seasons, and yet Season 15 is like, at minimum, 5 to 6 months, given that the Witch Queen is not coming out until sometime in 2022, and probably not right away on January 1st. So that's, going to be a bit of a wait, and most of the things are coming from the Witch Queen onward. So we're not getting a ton of stuff in Season 15. Season 15 is just kind of the stuff they already talked about, where they're getting rid of 3-peaking, and Trials is getting some reworks in some capacity. Maybe Iron Banner is, but that was not mentioned here at all, as Iron Banner is forever overlooked. The Trials changes are supposed to be detailed in the August 24th Witch Queen thing, which is a little surprising. I guess I didn't realize that they were going to be talking about that kind of stuff there. I figured that would be all Witch Queen stuff, because that's the day the season launches, but that's what the thread says. After that, things are getting a little more interesting. So in Season 16, which will be the season that launches with the Witch Queen, we are getting 2 unvaulted Destiny 2 maps. Destiny 2, not Destiny 1. So all those maps they put in the content vaults before they did all the reworks and stuff they did with the engine, those are on the table, and I think there were some maps that were disabled even before that. That could be in the mix too, but I think they took those out for a reason because they didn't really work with 6v6, but we'll see. There were 11 maps that were vaulted, including some pretty big ones that did not seem like especially problematic, but 2 of those are going to come out. I've seen DMG kind of soliciting, like, what does everyone want to see? So they might crowdsource a little bit, or do a fan vote of which maps should come back. I'm not sure if I have like the strongest of preferences. I did like a good number of those maps, except for the Citadel. I hate the Citadel. Never ever bring that back for any reason. So we could see, I don't know, something like Solitude come back, or Vostok, or whatever. And then, so he kind of explained that the idea of kind of just reactivating these maps is not as simple as it sounds. Whatever changes they made to Destiny 2 and Beyond Light with the engine and the back-end stuff is more involved than it seems. So all of these maps that get ported have to be hand-ported. It's not just like you hit the button to turn the maps back on and they repopulate. So they have to be kind of very specific and select which maps they want to bring back. This also kind of stands as to why they're not just like unvaulting things that would be cool, like Menagerie or, Mars or, things like that, that are maybe requested, but they are probably more work than any of us really know. So people like me should shut up, I guess, when we're talking about unvaulting and how much work actually goes into that. Puh, the hair. So that's like, it's, I don't know how excited you can get about bringing back 2 Destiny 2 maps that we just had, back with Beyond Light. It's not like the most exciting news. Better news comes after that, which is that the season after that, Season 17, will bring 1 brand new map. That is going to be something from a new location that they haven't done a map on before. We don't know what that is. That could be Europa, or any number of places that we've seen that they don't have a map set in. It could also be wherever the Witch Queen is set. That might be a little more relevant. We're kind of assuming Old Chicago, so some sort of spooky swamp map or whatever. But they'd be able to design it specifically for 6v6 play, unlike some of the old maps that were a lot of them were originally designed for 4v4 play. And then after that, in Season 17, we are getting one reprised Destiny 1 map, which will be new to Destiny 2 and something we haven't seen for 4 years at least. So that's a little better than I think just taking Destiny 2 maps out of the vault. That is not the only news, because they are also bringing back Rift at some point during 2022. They don't say exactly when. And they are experimenting with, I think, 2 other new modes too. They realized that players want more modes in the game. These could be relatively basic things. Like, it could just be, tweak modifiers like momentum control or scorch cannons, or things like that, where it's not. I don't think we're talking about like a new like Trials of Osiris or Iron Banner type thing. I think we're probably just talking about a different mode. And then we don't have a timeline on that. They didn't give specific seasons attached to that, because that's all probably still in the works. The overall point he was trying to make is that PvP is really important, and they spend a lot of work doing, sandbox changes to kind of set up. He calls it like unleashing the floodgates of stuff in the coming year. And like, keep in mind, this is the year between Witch Queen and Lightfall, and then we still have another year between Lightfall and Unnamed X expansion. Before then, who knows what happens after that, and then theoretically another year until they do Destiny 3, or relaunch it as World of Destiny, or whatever the hell they're going to do after that. So it's not like this is the last year of PvP or something, but it will be. In some ways, it'll be more significant than this past year, because they are adding stuff back instead of taking stuff away. That said, I understand the frustration with people that are like, yeah, but they deleted 11 maps last winter, and that this is bringing back 2 maps and then a D1 map and making 1 new map, and so it's probably going to be 1 truly new Destiny 2 PvP map in like 3 years, which still at baseline is not amazing. Like, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, and I think this is certainly better news than no news, which is what we've been having for so long now, and yet I think we're kind of grading them on a curve at this point to a certain extent, where how excited, we are compared to what we've gotten before, which is nothing. We might be giving them a little more credit than we would otherwise. Obviously, this is not the only thing that has to do with PvP in the future. We don't know how they're changing reward structures, or, the Trials changes, Iron Banner changes. We're getting more Crucible-specific weapons, more weapons for all the modes there, more sandbox changes. Like, I think this past year they have done a ton of work on the sandbox. Granted, a lot of that was just sort of fixing stasis to make it not ruin PvP, but I think they kind of got there in the end. And then they've been working on things like shotguns, and we know that they are going to be looking at like special ammo in the Crucible and things like that. And who knows what else they have on deck with different kind of meta changes or new exotics that might come, or there's a whole lot of potential changes coming to PvP outside of new maps and modes. The problem is that's like kind of all we've gotten for 2 years, so the exciting part is the new maps and modes, even if new is in quotes. So this is big news within the current state of Destiny PvP, considering how little they talk about it, and kind of what a meme like renewed focus on PvP became. The theory has always been that like they are working on a bunch of, at least a couple dedicated PvP projects as their incubation projects, something that, say, does not involve balancing PvE and PvP weaponry and skills, and can just be straight up, normal PvP that is a lot easier to balance. Many of their job listings have indicated as such, some sort of hero-ish shooter with a mobile component that is maybe free to play. Like, we don't know exactly what they're coming up with, but it does seem like they are going to try and build a game that is mainly focused on PvP, and that is the theory as to where maybe a lot of their PvP team went. I think Joe even mentioned in his thread that they want to hire a bunch more people to help build out Destiny PvP, because they have spots for environment design and animate and like all this, all these other things that you need to help build out more PvP maps and things like that. I just don't. It seems like they're stretched a little thin right now in terms of providing mostly PvE content for Destiny, and then however many incubation projects they have. And the incubation thing is new from the past few years, where previously they were only focusing on Destiny. And if one thing has been sacrificed for that, it does seem like it has probably been PvP to a certain extent. That seems fairly obvious, but they are looking to rectify that a little bit. Anyway, I'm excited to get any new maps at this point, or just maps, period. Excited to see Rift back, excited to check out new modes, and hopefully have coherent reworks for Trials and Iron Banner and things like that. So ultimately, I think it's good news. I understand why people are like, is this really the biggest of deal given the grand total of what we're getting? Okay, I get it, but I'll give it to them. This is more than we had, 3 hours ago. So we'll take what we can get at this point. But that's my thoughts for now. Just want to do a quick rundown of that, and then we are going to have presumably not PvP information laid out in the TWAB tomorrow. There's still a lot of stuff that we need to know about next season, in particular stasis weapons, and there's a whole lot of stuff they haven't covered or touched on yet, other than very briefly. So I'm looking forward to that. I might do a live TWAB read through then, and then ignore all the stuff I say about the TWAB in my Friday video because I filmed that today. And yes, I'll be gone from Friday to probably Tuesday. I will probably be talking about this on Twitter, but I am probably going to miss the debut of the epilogue. I just don't think my flight is going to be back in time to play it at reset. I might have to play it late that night. I kind of know. I feel like I know like 90% of what's going to happen, so I'm not too worried about spoilers. But if you don't see immediate content from me, that's why. So anyways, that's all I got for now on this impromptu tweet thread from Joe, and we'll see if there are any more impromptu tweet threads to cover, or we'll just do the swap tomorrow. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.